This morning, 2 Indonesian peacekeepers lost their lives in an explosion that hit a UNIFIL logistic convoy, destroying their vehicle near Bani Hayan, Sector East. 2 more peacekeepers were injured, 1 seriously. The origin of the explosion has not been determined. Yesterday, a peacekeeper of the Indonesian contingent was killed in an explosion inside a UNIFIL base in Et Taib, also in Sector East. Another peacekeeper was critically wounded and was evacuated to an hospital in Beirut. I express my deepest condolences to the families of the fallen peacekeepers and the government of Indonesia, and I wish a full recovery to those injured. We strongly condemn these unacceptable incidents, and peacekeepers must never be a target. UNIFIL is investigating these incidents to determine the circumstances of these tragic developments. We also remain seriously concerned about several aggressive incidents against UNIFIL peacekeepers in the past couple of days. All acts that endanger the peacekeepers must stop, and all actors must adhere to their obligations to ensure the safety and security of the peacekeepers at all times. The inviolability of United Nations installations must be respected. Our peacekeepers remain on the ground, carrying out Security Council mandated tasks in these extremely dangerous conditions. You can imagine that they are constrained in what they do, but they continue to do whatever is possible for them to do. The women and men of UNIFIL demonstrate utmost courage and commitment to advancing international peace and security far away from home, and of course we express our deepest appreciation to them. I reiterate the Secretary General's appeal to all sides to cease the fighting. Only the full implementation of Security Council Resolution 1701 by both parties will enable a long-term solution to the conflict. What we have seen clearly is an increased presence of the IDF, together with the strikes, of course, in different parts of Lebanon. Now, it's difficult for me to speculate on the final intent, because I cannot speak on behalf of the Israeli authorities, the IDF, certainly. I wouldn't pretend to do this, but based on what we're seeing, as well as several statements emanating from the Israeli authorities, and also the orders for evacuation of civilians, it certainly looks like we might end up with, I would call it an expanded buffer zone in southern Lebanon. Now, what width, what breadth, what size, what all of this, of course, is very difficult to assess. And again, it's for the Israeli to talk about what their intent is. The level of destruction, of course, was already significant even before the beginning of hostilities. I mean, I toured the Blue Line in January, and as you know, I mean, there's really a string of devastated villages with, even at this moment, very few civilians left. The humanitarian consequences, of course, are dramatic, but I should point out that in the UNIFIL area of operation, UNIFIL has continued to the best of their ability, and given the constraint, again, as a result of the current sort of kinetic operation going on, that they have continued to conduct regularly operations for humanitarian assistance, particularly to support the population that are left in UNIFIL area of population. And obviously, it is very traumatic to our peacekeepers. It's of serious concern to all of us. The troop and police, and in that case, the troop contributing countries to UNIFIL have so far demonstrated a very strong level of commitment and unity, of course we will do everything possible so that this level of unity, commitment, preserving what I call a Team UNIFIL, Secretariat, UNIFIL, and the troop contributing countries, that we preserve this unity of purpose. This is a Security Council mandated operation. We have a duty to stay. Of course, the ability to operate is constrained today, but the mandate remains, and also the perspective of ultimately reaching a political solution, which is the only way in which we believe, the Secretary General has repeated that time and again, and more recently in Lebanon, it's the only way in which a durable, sustainable solution can be found for Lebanon and the region.
That the statement we issued yesterday, in which the Secretary General strongly condemned the incident that took place on Sunday that resulted in the death of an Indonesian peacekeeper serving with the UN Interim Peacekeeping Force in southern Lebanon, UNIFIL. Our colleagues who died in the line of duty yesterday was Cadet Farizal Rambi, and that took place in Taib. His colleague, Private Rico Pramudia, was seriously injured and is being treated in a hospital in Beirut. We extend our deepest condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of the fallen peacekeeper, as well as to the government and people of Indonesia. We also wish a full and swift recovery to the injured peacekeeper. And as you're aware, there was another incident today in Bani Hayan in Sector East, and where there are reports of further casualties of UN peacekeepers. At this point, we're seeking further information from our colleagues on the ground, who, as you can imagine, continue to do work in extremely challenging and dangerous conditions. Some of the injured were able to be extracted today, but we are not able to access the scene to extract 2 others due to the lack of security guarantees. Following coordination with the Lebanese and Israeli authorities, a team is on the way to the scene now. We will update you as soon as we have more information, but I know Jean-Pierre Lacroix will also have more information for you. As you know, UNIFIL peacekeepers have been the subject of aggressive behavior, intimidation, and threats, and this must stop immediately. This Saturday, a UNIFIL convoy traveling along a coastal road near our headquarters in Nakora in Sector West was subjected to 6 warning shots fired by IDF elements stationed nearby, resulting in some small arms impact on one of our vehicles. On their way back, a Merkava IDF tank fired its main gun with the shell exploding just 15 meters from a vehicle of UNIFIL's Quick Reaction Force convoy. The vehicle suffered minor damage but was able to continue its movement. Once again, the Secretary General calls on all to uphold their obligations under international law and to ensure the safety and security of UN personnel and property at all times. Attacks on peacekeepers, as we've been saying quite a bit, is a grave violation of international humanitarian law and of Security Council Resolution 1701 and may amount to war crimes. There will need to be accountability. We urge the parties to de-escalate and immediately and fully adhere to their obligations under Security Council Resolution 1701 and to avail themselves of the existing mechanisms. Once again, we stress that civilians, including humanitarian and healthcare workers, and civilian infrastructure must be protected at all times, a concern made even more urgent by announcement of expanded military operations in southern Lebanon by the Israeli government. We have, turning to Yemen, I can tell you that we have consistently warned of the risk of the spillover from the conflict in the Middle East, and we're gravely concerned by the Houthis' recent decision to engage in the regional war by launching military attacks against Israel. We urge the Houthis to refrain from any further involvement and instead engage in diplomatic and mediation efforts, particularly through the UN Special Envoy Hans Grunberg. Mr. Grunberg warned over the weekend this escalation risks drawing the country into the regional conflict, further complicating efforts to resolve the crisis in Yemen.
Regarding the Secretary General's statement on the UNIFIL peacekeepers who were killed, it does note that the projectiles came from an unknown position, but that the peacekeepers were, quote, inside their position. So is this a case of being caught in the crossfire or directly targeted?
I think all of these things will come out in investigations. I think Mr. Lacroix will have more details. But what is clear is that the position of UN facilities is more than well known to the parties. And we also do deconfliction when we are moving